You're tuned into the Indie Popcast, broadcasting from Echo Park, Los Angeles.
Is anyone watching Orange is the New Black? Yeah, but are you in the... I don't want to give anything away. Like, let's start with just more general stuff so that I can ease into the, like, work stuff. Is that possible?
Yeah, general as in, you want me to ask you about your childhood?
Yeah, like being like, what do you do? I'm just like, oh, I work in indie pop and I am a day-to-day.
We can just say, like, how we started in the industry and how we ended up here,
like,
and then we can go into, like, so, what is the role of a day-to-day?
All right,
can we
you
guys
talk
are
about,
leading.
Like, some, like, yeah, just like, so how's the day, friends?
How's the day?
I don't know.
This is a podcast, not therapy.
No, but that's what podcasts are supposed to be. The podcasts I listen to are therapy.
I want to pretend like I'm on Dak Shepard's.
Yes,
podcast.
Armchair Expert.
I want
to
be on Armchair Expert.
Sponsored
right now.
by Armchair Expert. Dak Shepard, sponsor us. Put us on. We're interesting.
Yeah, we're so
We're
fun.
incredible podcasters.
Well, now that the tequila has arrived at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday, we are starting episode 2 of the Indie Popcast. Yay! I mean, we work in the music industry. Somebody somewhere is doing the same thing. I'm here with Alex and Carlye, who are both women of indie pop, which is the topic of this podcast.
I'm Carlye.
And I'm Alex.
And we are the women
girls.
of indie pop. Why are we
Shoot.
girls?
We're women. That's
The
right.
women of indie
indie pop.
So obviously we have more women than just the three of us that work at Indie Pop. We have Sally, Katie, who is BTS on this podcast. I just wanted to do not just a women-centric podcast, which obviously excites me. I've always wanted to have this conversation with you both, but you both are also day-to-days. I want to get into that. What is a day-to-day? What do you guys do here? How do you guys even get here? But Carlye has requested that I ease into the business portion of this podcast by asking, how is your day going, Carlye?
Oh, I mean, it just started. I woke up. I had 80 new emails. And now I'm here.
That's
and
it?
I'm
That
podcasting
you just
instead
did
of answering
emails and then you teleported your way.
I pretty much just wake up, I answer emails, I teleport here, I answer more emails, I leave, I answer more emails, and then I go to sleep. And that's the day in a life of a day-to-day.
I went a little rogue this morning.
Ooh, no emails.
Like one email.
Wow.
Yeah. And then I went to yoga.
Oh.
I did some hot yoga this morning and it was really
Where at?
intense. Playlist in West Hollywood. It's my favorite.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by Playlist Yoga, West Hollywood.
Wow, Alex, you should really be in voiceover or radio because it's very pleasing.
It's my secret skill.
Yeah.
It's my backup in life, you know?
Backup plan. I need one of those.
If you weren't here right now at Indie Pop, what do you think you'd be doing?
Like making cheese. Like probably working on a cheese
I
farm.
know people are going to think that's a joke, but I think
Like
it's
stretching
really
mozzarella.
seriously.
That
That sounds
real.
amazing.
I think you mean it.
You can do
I
it.
do.
I can totally see that.
Anything is possible.
Anything. What would you do if you were in management?
I think I'd want to travel and be like honestly a yoga teacher. Like I'd love to like teach yoga
like
and do
super...
and meditate and just be zen.
So
now that everybody's comfortable, are you guys comfortable now?
so much.
Yeah.
To start talking about your positions here.
Okay.
One of the biggest questions I get from people that are not in the industry or new to working in music, working in management is I use the term day-to-day freely because, you know, I've heard it so much, but people don't know what a day-to-day does. So can you both try to describe what tasks make up a day-to-day's job?
Basically, being a day-to-day means dealing with the day-to-day tasks involved in management. It's like everything for a manager, they're supposed to be thinking long-term or like big goals for a client, for marketing and music releases and touring and for the day-to-day, we're taking all these big ideas that the manager has and then implementing them and kind of overseeing the whole team involved in it to make it happen. So
There's so many moving parts. So you're dealing with the designer, as Carlye said, the tour manager, the label. You're dealing directly with the artist. You're dealing with their merchandise and whoever supplies that. If they have a personal assistant, you're dealing with that person. You're kind of you're the checks and balances of the artist career.
Yeah.
You make sure that every piece of the puzzle is put together. You're dealing with the producers. You're dealing with all of the legal. You're dealing with the business manager. You're making sure that the money is coming in and it's accounted for properly.
The manager is like, they're supposed to have more clients than the day-to-day is looking after. So they have to oversee the career of a number of people. And so the day-to-day is the one who has the time to really hyper-focus in on the really severe details of the day-to-day life of an artist and their career.
That also includes personal life too.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's more to it. It depends on the artist. Some artists rely on their management more for personal help than others. I've worked for artists who need help filling out applications for their kids' preschool, or moving houses, or booking dentist appointments. But then
What's the weirdest request that you've had? You don't have to name the artist.
my favorite request that I've ever gotten is that, and this might be a real thing, but I did a bunch of research and did not find this, but someone wanted me to find a service or a person that would go to Burning Man, build them a yurt, an air-conditioned...
What's a yurt?
A yurt. It's like those
like a little
freestanding
teepee.
little well, it's rounder and
It's a round teepee.
sort of, yeah.
It's like a bougie teepee.
It's sort of, yeah. But even more bougie, they wanted an air-conditioned yurt. And then they wanted it set up. They wanted to arrive at their air-conditioned yurt, be at Burning Man, leave Burning Man, and have the person tear it down and then leave after. And I did so much research on this and couldn't find this at all.
Honestly, I've been fairly lucky in my life that most of the artists I work for or have worked for have actually not been that intense. I think one of my first jobs working with an artist, and this was just something, it wasn't difficult, but it just totally it shocked me. We went to a fitting and I remember the artist looking at me when the stylist asked what sizes they were. And they were all older than me. They all knew. I was just oh, wait, you don't know what size pants you are?
Oh,
you don't know
they
what
wanted
size
you to know?
shirt you wear? And I was oh, I was not prepared for this because I was a new day-to-day on the project. I was
Yeah.
oh, no, I don't know how to help you. And then one of them goes, oh, well, I'll just text my mom. My mom will know. And I just remember at that moment that you as the day-to-day literally have to know everything about your artist. Even if you don't think it's important, it's going to come up and you better have an answer for it.
Yeah.
And you better have a quick answer.
Yeah. I've had artists' parents email me and call me and ask me for help on stuff before. Crazy questions about stuff. And I'm just I don't know. Sure, yes, whatever you need, parent of artists I work on.
I got you.
Yeah, I got you. Let's go. Yeah. I think it's also worth noting that you came from an agency background. So you, before that, were in management, but then were in agency life for a while. So there wasn't as much direct.
No.
So there's still plenty of time for you to get asked some ridiculous
Crazy
requests.
questions.
Yeah.
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 I have kind of done almost everything in the industry in a way.
Yeah. Wow.
I started in management. Then I was a talent buyer and promoter and managed or special events at a venue, which was really cool. And that was interesting, seeing some of the riders that would come through. And you're
Oh, riders. We
what-
should talk about those.
how can I find this thing that you're looking for? Something as simple as organic grapes seems really easy. Not in the state of Arizona.
So
4
for people
years
that
ago.
don't know, what's a writer?
It's when an artist performs at a show, they send in their rider. There's production rider, which is what they need when they're performing on stage. And then there's their hospitality rider, which usually has alcohol on it, some snacks.
It's personal things that they want in their green room.
Absolutely. Sometimes it's but people get really
Clothes.
weird with it.
Sometimes they want socks.
They want
or
extra socks because they get
shirts,
sweaty.
which I understand. They want towels.
Usually there's at least one bottle of Don Julio 1942.
Lots of alcohol.
Sponsored by.
Sponsored by. I dare an artist to tell me that's not on their rider. Even the artists that don't drink, or anything.
Well, they want it
have
for the
alcohol
people,
on
their
rider,
squad,
the
their
manager
crew.
puts it on.
Yeah.
I've had
It's for us, basically.
It's basically for the
We
rest.
want the
It's for
booze,
the
actually.
management. The rider is really at the end of the day for the managers, but it's for the artist. They eat like 3 carrots and then they're like, I'm good.
So when you were doing those jobs, did you always envision yourself continuing to work in management and then be a day-to-day and then potentially a manager in the future?
Yeah, that was ultimately the goal. I started really young. I was only 16 when I started in music. And so I really...
What was your first job in music?
My very first paid...
Or internship?
My very first volunteer job was at a place called Modified Arts. And it was a super small... I don't even think it was a 100-cap venue. And it's where people like Jimmy Eat World and Death Cab for Cutie, Arcade Fire got their start.
In what city?
In Phoenix. And it was downtown. It was run by Kimber Lanning, who owns Stinkweeds. And she's a total badass. Like, I just remember meeting her and being like, I want to be her someday. Like, she's so professional. She's a boss and everybody respects her. And so there was a promoter that I became friends with. And his name is Steve Chilton. I'm like, I'll shout him out, Psycho Steve. And
She just casual shout out mid podcast.
I remember going to him and I was like, I really want to work for this cool pop punk band in Phoenix. Like, can you connect me? And he was like, yeah, like you're not the worst volunteer I've ever had. So like, let's see. And because of Steve, he's why I work in music. And I loved my first job in management. But then I realized that Phoenix was kind of a smaller market, and I knew that my knowledge was a little bit limited. I was super young. I was still in high school, and I needed to expand my knowledge. So then I wanted to kind of know every facet of the industry to be able to look at an artist's career from the big picture and really be able to dial in and be like, oh, that's what a really smart agent does. Oh, that's what a smart label person does. So that's kind of why I took like a little roundabout way back in.
Did you go to college for music?
I got my associates in music business, and then I got a bachelor's in business administration. So I kind of did a little.
Did you go to school for?
No, anything? I went to school for. Nope, I went to school for nothing. I went to school for film production. Oh, wow. I thought I wanted originally to make music videos. When I was in high school, I saw Skrillex's Equinox video and was like, that's it. I'm making
You found your
music
calling.
videos. Yeah, I'm making music videos. Like, let's go.
Did you ever make any?
When I first moved out here, I worked in a music video company space and worked on a Toki Monster music video.
Oh, cute.
I think it was called Soul to Soul. Shout out Toki. She's the shit. Or she's the bomb. I don't know what you have to like cut out. What can't you use?
Do people say the bomb in
I don't know.
2019?
She's
lit. She's lit.
Legit.
She's legit. And then I worked on a Girl Talk Waka Flocka Flame video, which was so much fun. Waka is crazy. He's hilarious. He told me, I mean, he'll never hear this, but he was
again, like, nobody will hear this.
There was a live vulture on set. He was very afraid of that. It was
a live vulture.
Yeah, his manager asked me if I knew of a place to get pre-rolled cones, and I didn't because I had just moved to Los Angeles, but I did have weed on me, obviously, and I almost was like, but I can roll a joint for him. Like, I've got this. We're good to go. And I went to the bathroom and tried to roll a joint, and I was just like, then walk up to him and be like, here's a joint, like, you know, 'cause I'm so accommodating. And I just was like sweating and like freaking out and like was like, couldn't roll a joint that was worthy of Waka Flocka Flame. So I just quit while I was ahead and abandoned that. So I was an incredible PA on set.
So how did you take those skills and
apply them here?
Yeah, apply them into. Did you then decide that you didn't want to direct music videos?
No, I never wanted to direct. I wanted to produce. So I was like, I love budgets and I love overseeing an entire team and I love like, and which is so ridiculous.
Loved budgets?
I know, right? Like as like an 18-year-old, I was like, budgets are my shit. But I like mostly like overseeing an entire team and putting together the team and then building something from nothing. I also was like a cater waiter all through college. So like taking a bare room and turning it into this beautiful.
I think you can say ass.
Okay. And turning it into this beautiful event was so magical to me. Like taking some like nothing and turning it into something was the best thing ever. So it kind of was the same thing for films. Like a director would be like, I have this crazy idea, and I'm like, okay, let me figure out how to take this crazy idea and make it a reality. So I wanted to produce music videos. Then I wanted to produce opening title sequences for television shows. You know what those are? You know what I mean? Like they're the one thing that plays in every episode. Like that it has
like
to be
Full
good.
House, like when it starts.
Sure,
it's like
that's not the one I think of, but yeah.
What's the one that you think of?
There's like Dexter's opening title sequence was really good. Like
so
I really
good.
wanted to work for that company that made that one. They also do the True Blood opening sequence, like Westworld's opening title sequence, or even Game of Thrones or anything. Like they make
Your shout out HBO.
yeah,
was
HBO.
Sponsored by.
I think Digital Kitchen was the name of the company, and I was like aggressively hitting them up. Like once a month I'd be like, do you have an opening? Do you have an opening? Do you have an opening? I saw this thing on Facebook about an internship at Teamwork Management. Had no idea what that meant. Clicked on their website, saw Diplo's name, saw Jack U, which I knew was Skrillex and Diplo, saw Major Lazer, saw Dylan Francis, and I was just like, I like electronic music a lot. I go to these concerts all the time. I go to music festivals in the summer. I don't know what this is, but I want in. So then I started interning at Teamwork. And at the end of my internship on my last day, Nick Palmacci called me in his office and was like, don't get a new job. We're going to hire you.
Just going from both of your stories of how you started, you both had internships, right? Is that how you both started?
That's how I started.
That's how Carlye did.
Yeah.
I started interning.
It was sort of a...
Where did you intern?
Well, I started in radio. So I never really wanted to work in radio as a career. It's one of those things where I said, this will never be a job. But I just love doing it. I ended up interning at a radio station in Sacramento when I was going to college. Just kind of one thing led to another. And I ended up doing that for a really, really long time.
That's awesome.
Which is why I know how to do podcasts. Because I was on air for a really long time.
That's so... That would never scared you to just like have to talk live. Like radio is like it's just happening.
Yeah, it's fully live.
That's so scary.
No.
Like even now I'm sweating through my t-shirt and it's like you're gonna cut out major portions of this.
Yeah, no. I mean, doing a podcast is different from being a radio DJ, but in essence, it's kind of similar. It's a microphone. I just like
this
talking.
is easier.
That's it.
I think it's harder.
You can mess up.
It's harder for me because it's long form. I'm used to talking for like 7 seconds.
I don't know. The pressure of knowing that, like, if I mess this up, it's done. It's like, you're fired.
I love it.
Like, I'm just like, I'm right now just like shaking.
I thrive off of that. This is harder just because I have to have, a lengthy conversation. I have to be engaging.
We talk all the time now.
Yeah.
We do talk all the time,
We're
which is why
friends.
I knew that this was going to be a good podcast. I feel like when I started in music, I was really lucky to have mentors.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex touched base on meeting people early on in your careers that helped mold where you are now.
Yeah.
Whether it's skills that you have, it could have been a bad experience. Maybe like you met somebody that taught you about what you don't want to do or thicken your skin, which I think is a really big.
You meet a lot of those
Yeah,
in this
yeah.
industry.
That's true. But, going back to women of indie pop, did you guys ever have a strong woman in the
Yeah.
industry? That's also really important too. I feel like we're in this age of 2019 of women supporting other women. But when I started, that wasn't really like a commonly known theme. But was there somebody that played that role for you guys to get here? That I'm just intrigued in finding out whether that person exists or not for both of you.
I have a few mentors in the music industry, which I've been really lucky to have encountered those people in my life. But as far as females go, my old boss that I worked for at Big Machine, Allison, she is incredible. She taught me what it was like to treat your team like family and the importance of that. She's also probably, I mean, this is just like me saying this, but she's probably the best, or if maybe I should not say maybe the best, but like one of the best A&Rs out there, especially in country. I mean, she did all of Taylor Swift. She's done Rascal Flatts, Thomas Rhett, like you name it. She's done it. And like, she is a boss. Like, she is a mom. She runs a team. And like, when I was working under her, it was a full team of women. And I didn't know of another A&R team that was solely women. So like, working for her, she was amazing. She just taught me what it was like to be a mom, have a family, juggle a career, but also be one of the most respected people. And all of her clients loved her. Like, anytime they were in town, like, we want to go hang out with Allison. And like, still till this day, if there's ever an event, whenever she's in LA, she's always like, hey, come hang out. Like, we've got this networking event. She always brings people together. She wants everything to feel like it's like one big party, but also like networking and getting the job done. So I would say Allison would be my female mentor in the industry.
What about you, Carlye?
I have a similar-ish like experience. I went from teamwork to working at Little Empire Music, who's run by Stephanie LaFera, and I was hired to be her executive assistant, and I ended up doing that job for 2 years. And she is a force, like an extreme force to be reckoned with. Like, everyone told me before I worked for her, like, oh, Stephanie LaFera, like that, like there's just like so much weight in her name because she was she was with Cascade from the beginning, you know, like Cascade, who is this huge part of the electronic industry. They were working together since she was like 22, you know, she was so young, and she took a chance. She brought, I think, Cascade to her boss at the time. She was doing day-to-day on, what's his name? Bald.
What's
Small.
his name? Bald
and Small. You know what I mean? We're going to cut this part out where I can't remember his name. Yeah, DJ. Bald and Small.
DJ?
Yes, okay. Thank you. Oh my God. Okay. Do not include that. Please, dear God. So she was doing day-to-day on Moby. She brought Cascade.
Oh, that's a big one to be
Yeah.
day-to-day on. Damn,
Yeah.
sorry. I didn't hear that with the headphones on.
So she was doing day-to-day on Moby. She brought Cascade, I think, to her boss, and her boss was like, nah, this is nothing. And she was just like, actually, I think it is. She did that. She created her own company. She is a really, like, huge advocate of women's involvement in the music industry and tends to hire a lot of powerhouse females and add them to her company. So I got to learn from her for 2 years, and that was such an incredible, amazing experience. Like, she is not a pushover by any means, and she doesn't take no for an answer. And I just thought that was really powerful for a woman, because usually we're expected to just like do, how do I say that? It's not, so everything sounds
We
weird.
weren't necessarily respected, or
Yeah,
as,
women
like,
weren't as
held
respected, and
in
sometimes
high esteem.
And it's interesting because a lot of the time, like, people have a weird idea about her being a hard ass in some situations. And it's like, I think that she, a lot of the time, would walk in, like most of the time, she's walking into a meeting and it's a room full of men. And so she has to stick up for herself and have this harder, like, exterior in order to get what she wants and deserves. And I loved learning from her. She has a family. I think it's just fascinating to watch women balance work and family life, and it's very different to watch male bosses who have kids and family. It's a really interesting balance.
Totally different dynamic.
Yeah.
It reminds me of somebody too from my career, Brenda Romano, who's the president of promo at Interscope. When I was just starting out in LA at the radio station here, I felt like I was just like the baby of the group, because especially in radio industry, it's the age range is like super different. Most people are a lot older than me, and I started out as a baby at the radio station. I felt like, who am I? Like, I'm not even that important. Like, I'm, nobody. I just started in this city, and here she is. Like, she's this like boss lady. She takes care of business. She's like always in, all the lists, like Billboard Women in Music. She's on that list like every year. And she saw me kind of for who I was, how hard I worked, and always was the kindest person to me, was extremely supportive, really inviting. And I was like, wow, it's just a different feeling, right? When like a woman that has paved that path recognizes you, wants to support you. It just gives you a different almost like confidence in your abilities or maybe like where you want to go. It's really important to have that as an example in what we do.
I mean, I don't want to generalize, but I think women, what I've encountered, have been really supportive of other women and just other people beyond women, like coming up and like
Not all the time.
oh, in my experience, like Stephanie created this group called Skylight, and at first it was about helping women in music and, you know, giving them the tools and meeting up together and networking and her speaking about like her experiences and being this like outreach for other women. And then it expanded beyond women, and it's like anyone who's coming up in music, giving them a helping hand and making sure that we're all connecting so that we can be the next generation and be creating some, like, it's not about just like protecting the information or like not giving people chances. We want to give people chances, and we want to spread information and awareness and everything. And it's like people in this industry can be very protective about like their tricks of the trade, and I think that women tend to be more willing to like give that information out or help others, give a helping hand, if you will.
Well, I don't really know where to segue from that.
Also, women are just like prettier, they smell good, like
do smell good.
they wear nice makeup. Sometimes they don't wear makeup and like it's fine.
I think we don't have to wear makeup.
I don't think so at all. Like, I typically don't.
Same.
I put some on for this podcast because they said they'd see the mascara through the microphone. But yeah, I do really respect women. I think, like, I tend to look at companies that are run by women, and I feel very impressed just because I know that the balance between work life and family life is a really difficult one for women. So when I can see...
Why do you think that is, though? Because guys are doing the same thing. Like, there's men that are married and have kids, and they don't get hassled. You know, they don't get asked, wow, like,
the expectation is different.
Yeah, it's a societal thing, I think, because women are, like, as women, you're supposed to be able to do it all. You're supposed to, like, look beautiful. You're supposed to be smart. You're supposed to carry a job. You're supposed to make money. You're supposed to be a mom. You're supposed to be the best mom. You're supposed to be all things. And, like, as a man, just generally in society, I think, like, your just role is to, like, you're the breadwinner, and like you don't necessarily have to nurture the kids. Like, you just have to show up for the game. But women of the world we're supposed to be like superheroes all the time. And I think there is a paradigm shift now, and we're seeing more of it. But I still think that just also by our nature, like, we're caregivers, instinctually, and so I think like because of that, we just take so much on, and we just like want to do it all.
A position like being a manager, which is a 24/7 job, it's really hard to do that and be a mother, which is a 24/7 job. And that's why day-to-days come in the pictures, because like you need to rely on someone else to be able to pick up the phone and deal with the day-to-day tasks when you're with your kid.
Do you both worry about that in your future?
I'm like, absolutely. I mean, it's a real thing. 'Cause someday I want to be able to.
What was that heavy exhale from Carlye?
What is having kids?
That's a
What
big
are children? When I'm
concept.
60, I will have some children.
Well, by that point, you
Yeah.
know, science
Yeah,
will
absolutely.
just take care of all of it, I'm sure.
Maybe I'm unique in this, but it's sometimes even hard to balance a relationship because you're on
Yeah.
call 24/7. It's like, oh, date night isn't really date night anymore.
No.
Date night is if my client needs me, my client comes first. And it's
Yeah.
really hard to explain to somebody that you love and care about that, like, hey, you are my life and I want to build something with you. But the role and job that I have is that my client is always number one. I don't know how people do it with kids. Like, how do you tell
How?
a child that literally relies, especially on a female, like in the beginning stages of development, like, hey, sorry, like my
Like,
client needs me right now.
yeah.
Like, I'll see you later.
Yeah.
Like, you can't really. So
like,
it's,
catch you on the flip-flop, gotta go take this call.
yeah. So I think
Yeah.
it's important to have those females around you that have gone through and have done it, to have that support system, and
Yeah.
especially having people that are your peers. And just knowing that you have that community and that family coming up in this industry, knowing you're not alone in how you feel, and there's other people out there and there are resources to help you.
There's not a lot of freedom in this position, but then there is so much freedom. It's like a weird
it's a weird
dichotomy. Is that the right word?
Yeah, like an
that's the
oxymoron
right-
kind of.
Like
Right.
it's a extreme contrast of you can achieve like a lot of freedom in this position to do things creatively that you like never would otherwise be able to do, but also at the same time you do have to think of another human being who's not your child, who's not your blood, more than you think about yourself.
Yeah, it's interesting because you really do work 24/7. Holidays don't really exist anymore.
Yeah. Weekends.
Weekends, they're not a thing, but it's in a way it's really fun though because you get to be a part of everything and you get to see something from the ground up and you're involved with it from every step of the way. So it is really rewarding. And like you get to travel with your client. I mean, if you have the flexibility with the company you work for, you can kind of pick your own schedule too. Like there is so much freedom that comes with it and there is so much creative input, but with that there's sacrifice. And I look at it as like anybody who does business, whether it's music or not, like you have to work all the time and you have to sacrifice so much. So it's like we're pretty lucky to be able to do something that we actually like to do. Like we're kind of living the dream.
Who are your clients that you're working on right now, Carlye?
Oh,
In
we
case
haven't talked
people
about
are,
that.
yeah. I mean, we kind of skipped over it in the
Yeah, we
beginning.
did.
Now we're at the business portion of the podcast.
I work on an artist called Cashmere. He is very big in the dance music world. He came up kind of under Tiesto with their song Secrets that they did together. And yeah, he tours the world. He's really big in India and China. And he's coming up very much in Europe and America. And really big, exciting things are coming this
And
year.
you traveled a lot with him too.
Yeah. Most recently, we went to New York to do a live show. He does a live show where he has orchestral players and dancers, and it's this huge operation.
South America.
We went to South America earlier this year and did a run for Lollapalooza, and that was really fun. Huge, like really exciting. People love him all over the world, and it's just really cool to see fans of different cultures react differently, but still with such admiration and just like a global love for this kind of. It makes everyone jump the same way and like feel good the same way, and that's really fun to see. Shameless plug: I manage an artist called Dactyl.
Oh, here it is. There she is.
Dactyl. He is a UK producer that has put out music through Mad Decent and Counter Records, but he's a smaller artist at the time. Currently, he's a smaller artist right now. Who knows when this podcast comes out? He might be huge.
I am day-to-day on Yuna and the Martinez brothers. Yuna just released a record called Rouge in July. It's incredible. So many good features are on it. She did a short US run, which did really great. She has dancers now, an all-female band. And then the Martinez brothers are blood brothers, as we like to call them. They're super, I probably can't say the F word, but if I could, they're super cool. And they're really big in the
F word. I haven't heard.
They're super freaking cool.
Haven't heard somebody call it the
cool.
F word.
And they're big in the underground house space. They just did a residency at DC-10. The last one is coming up in September, and that went off really, really well. They released a mixtape called Space Jams, which is dope. So if you're into underground house music, you should definitely check it out.
That's it. That's a wrap.
We did
Do
it.
you guys feel good? Anything else?
I really respect the fact that the ratio of women to men at this company is pretty equal.
Like, I've been at companies where it's just like a really clear imbalance of female junior staff to male senior staff, and to see that line blurred is really exciting.
Well, I think also too, we're not just being hired because, oh, like that's a woman and she's working in the industry, so let's hire her to balance
Right.
out the ratio. I think it's also, like we brought up earlier, the landscape of just how society views women is changing. I think we as women feel more empowered to speak up or even go for careers that, you know, men have held traditionally in the past. So it's not just, oh, they decided to to hire more women. It's that we're more outspoken now. We're more empowered now. We're more going for roles in, you know, management or music or any fields that maybe we didn't feel like we could ever achieve in the past. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, Carlye. Thank you, Alex. Thank you, Katie.
Just so you know, they're going to listen to this episode. They're going to hear my voice against her voice, and they're going to be like, I thought this was women of indie pop. And they're going to be like, but they have a guy on the show.
My voice is low register too,
Not
bro.
as bad as mine, dude.
You want to do our outro? Find us everywhere you can find podcasts.
Where can you find us? I don't even know because we have
Anywhere you
18 different
Spotify,
names now.
the podcast app.
Check out our
online.
company's Spotify playlist.
No,
Indie
it's
Pop
not. It's not.
Picks.
It's
I don't
not.
know what it is.
No, just plug the podcast.
Oh, check out the podcast wherever you stream podcasts. Oh no, wait, no, no, wait. What do they say on other podcasts? They're like, make sure, like, yeah, no, I know the word. Make sure to tune in to, like, I don't know, just like hopefully wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hopefully you'll come back and find us.
Yeah. If you enjoyed this episode of the Indie Popcast, check out our podcasts weekly. Or how often?
Monthly.
Check out, I don't know. Yeah. I put on deodorant right before this. I felt like we were in a small room. You guys need... I just didn't want to be in this small studio. You guys had to smell me.
Something for my race, hey Julie. Oh, hey Julie. Yeah, hey Julie. Heard you got that drip.